Staying with tax matters, the federal government is proposing a new tax rate of 25% on individuals earning 100 million naira or more monthly. The proposal, unveiled by the chairman of the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms, Taiwo Oyedele, aims to balance the tax burden across income brackets. Oyedele explained that the higher tax rate on the wealthy is necessary to ensure a fair contribution to government revenue. He also announced plans to offer a 100% VAT refund to businesses on assets and services. The government believes this measure will alleviate the financial strain on businesses, as VAT paid on assets like cars and laptops often increases their operating costs. By refunding this tax, the government hopes to encourage economic activity and reduce inflationary pressures. To discuss this, we're joined by a development expert, Gbolahan Olojede. Good morning to you, Mr. Olojede. It's nice to have you around. Now, how do you anticipate the proposed 25% tax on high-income earners in terms of the impact in the overall or on the overall country's economy, particularly in terms of consumer spending, investments, and maybe potential tax evasion?
Okay. When you think about the fact that in a place like the United States, the top 1% earner, 1%, contributes almost 40% of the entire personal income tax. You can see the thinking behind what the tax authorities might be talking about. If it is possible that if you can get the right level of taxes from 1% top earners, and it will contribute as much as 40%, it looks like a very attractive contribution to the pool of taxation. However, there are questions about how that will play out in our own environment. Number one, how many people are in this bracket? Someone who earns 100 million naira per month. I hope that wasn't an error. Maybe it meant per annum. But per month, how many Nigerians will be in that bracket? That is the first question. And then the Nigerians that are in that bracket, they are also the high and mighty and powerful. How to be able to enforce this? These are the same people who are the friends of the people who will make the law. They are the friends of the president. They are the they are the high and mighty. Enforcing taxation on this class of people, we have not done very well on that for many years. Up till now, we have not done well on it. Is it going to change now? I don't know. We have to wait and see if we indeed have the capacity to ensure that the people who earn the most also contribute the most to the pool income taxes. So we're waiting to see how that pans out. But in the past, it has failed miserably.
But some people have said that, the fact that the Nigerian government has come out to say that there's going to be the digitization, rather, of the tax regime in the country, and the fact that there's a need for the optimization of the tax templates, so to speak, or the tax platform, so to speak, and having, the database being optimized, that could, in a way, help in tracking those who are actually meant to pay their taxes or fulfill their tax obligation to the country. So don't you think that when all these is put in place, that could, in a way, capture the platform, capture the demographics of those that are actually needed to actually pay their taxes?
It's to capture that the demographic. It's another thing to implement what the tax authorities are saying they will implement. There is also one thing that will start to happen when we go along that direction. People will start to hide the income. So the people you're chasing after, it is because the money is within a system that can be captured. That is why you are able to capture them. And in an environment like ours, where there is still a lot of things that could be done outside of the financial system, you might start to see all sort of outside the financial system and disguised transaction in some forms or the other. So it is not going to be a walk in the park. It will require a very strong political will to ask my friend. I am the tax collector, and then I ask my friend who is in that bracket. I want to enforce the payment of that taxes on him. It will require a lot of will. I just hope we'll be able to get there.
Okay, so
in the past we've had things like taxes on private jets and some luxury items. You need to ask yourself, how far did we do with that particular taxation?
Interesting. So then how would you also evaluate this proposed tax reform in terms of income distribution and overall tax burden on different segments of the population? Some people have said that it's probably skewed and it's not fair.
The whole essence of the reform is to make it fair. To say that the people who have had the kind God break their kernels, or how do we put it, should contribute more to the pool if you earn more. In fact, the whole idea of calling income tax, personal income tax payee, which is pay as you earn, is to capture that canon of taxation, that those who earn more should also contribute more to the pool of tax. So the essence of the reform is not to make it unfair, but rather to make it fair, to ensure that, because what you see in Nigeria today is that only a segment of the society is carrying the bulk of the income tax. If you work in a structured environment where your tax has been deducted from your salary before the net is paid to you, those are the people carrying the bulk of the problem. All the other people who are in the informal sector or whose income cannot be reasonably, taxes cannot be deducted before you give them their income, a whole lot of those people are not even paying taxes. Some of them are paying extortion, which is when some tax people come after them and say this and this and this. Then they call the tax man aside and give him something, and he goes away. That is not taxation. It is actually extortion when those officials of government come to you and you bribe them and they go away. So only those in the formal system, as we speak today, are carrying the body. Let me give you a very good example. There was a case in this country where a former governor for 8 years was contesting for the presidency. And then when you are contesting, part of the form you fill will show your income tax. And then when you go and look at the income tax of this governor for 8 years, the taxation he has paid is as if he's a teller in one of the banks. In fact, some entry-level people in the banks have paid more taxes than this former 8-year governor had paid. So it should tell us that something is wrong about the tax system that we have right now, which is why this reform is meant to bring equity onto the platform.
Okay.
And I just hope we'll succeed largely.
So you've actually pointed out some loopholes in this tax or new tax regime or bill that is coming up right now. But then when you look at all the encumbrances and the issues, do you think it will now have any form of potential implication or rub-off on the businesses, small and medium-sized enterprises, and probably, the higher tax rates? Probably there's going to be some sort of mitigation in that line. Is there anything we could hope for looking at this?
I think it would be good, if it's implemented, it will be good for businesses. There are protection belts for micro businesses, for example. So the tax law said, if your annual revenue is not more than this amount, you don't even have to pay anything. It has removed VAT from certain items. It is saying again that even for businesses who pay certain VAT in the cost of their production, that those VAT that they pay, which will have increased their cost profile, will be refunded back to them. So the target is not to burden the businesses, but to see how the burden could be shared in an equitable way across the entire taxable persons in the system. So people who earn more should pay more. People who earn so low should not even have to pay at all. People who are producing certain cost profile going higher, we want to be able to take out of that amount and ensure that their cost profile is lessened by that amount if it is implemented. Then you have also the fact that there is harmonization. We're saying there are too many taxes flying all over the place, and that if we are able to harmonize this and ensure that the taxpayer doesn't have to pay tax 1, tax 2, over 60 taxes we were told are in the system, but you streamline this, then it offers an incentive. And then a lot of technology deployment is also happening in the tax space. Now, there was a time when everybody had to go line up somewhere in some tax offices somewhere. But today you can sit in your room and do your tax filings and have your tax engagement and payment.
All right, thank you so much, Gbolahan Olojede, for sharing your thoughts with us.
Thanks for having me.